What's up everyone? Welcome back to another video with Millennial Finance. As 2022 is still just starting off, we're barely a month in, we still have a lot of time to set some good financial goals that we want to achieve this year. So today, I'll be talking about some of the common financial goals that we can set for ourselves and how we can achieve them, and I'll also share a bit of my personal goals for this year. Let's get started. Cha-ching! So the first goal that I'm going to be talking about is probably the foundations of personal finance, and that is a savings goal. Someone who earns 10,000 ringgit but spends 10,000 ringgit as well is financially worse off than someone who earns 5,000 ringgit but spends only 2,000. It's not how much you earn, it's how much you save. Going back to the basics, there are two ways to do this. The first one is, you come up with a budget, you think how much you're going to spend in a month, and then you try your best to stick with it so that you have some extra at the end of the month to save. Another way, which is of course what I always recommend to all of you, is to always pay yourself first. Meaning as soon as you get your salary, separate out a certain amount where it goes to your savings. If you think, for example, 500 ringgit per month in savings is a realistic goal for you, then set up an auto transfer one day after you get your salary and transfer it out to another account. So an important point here, you should have a separate account for your savings. If you just use the same bank account, then it's impossible to track. It's hard for you to keep track of everything that you're doing, and you might actually go into your savings accidentally without noticing. Doing the second method, you ensure that you're hitting your goals every single month, 500 ringgit a month, where you then spend the balance so you can adjust your budget based on how much you have left. Other fun ways you can build up your savings is by doing challenges. So back when I was in uni, I used to save every single 5 ringgit note that I would get. It was sort of a painful process because back then, of course, we didn't have a lot of money as uni kids. So every time I paid, like 20 ringgit for something, I was just praying that the cashier didn't give me 5 ringgit change. But they always do, and I had to save this money. This doesn't really work for me anymore because I use credit cards, I don't really use cash, but it could work for many of you who do. Another interesting challenge that I found online is to save 1 ringgit in the first week of 2022. Every subsequent week, you're going to up this by another 1 ringgit, meaning in the second week of 2022, you'll save 2 ringgit, in the third week, you'll save 3 ringgit, and by the end of the year, the final week of 2022, you should be saving 52 ringgit that week. If you decide to do this, then by the end of the year, you should have, by my calculations, 1,378 ringgit saved up. You can play around with the amount depending on how comfortable you are with saving money and what your targets are. So if you think this is too easy for you, maybe start with 2 ringgit, next week 4 ringgit or something like that. For me, this year, I plan to save about 20% of my salary from my main job and 80% of all my YouTube income. So you've done the savings part, what's next? Another common goal is of course to pay off your debts. I made a video about how paying off your debts early may not be the best financial choice, so if you're interested in that, you can check out that video. We'll leave it down in the description after this one. However, I do also acknowledge that many people get a peace of mind once they pay off their debt, even though it is not the best financial decisions. That is not something money can buy, so if this is you, then go for it. For this, you would again want to set up a monthly goal that is realistic so that you can pay off your debt every single month without fail. This could be either a portion of the savings that you earmarked earlier, or even better, on top of it. Anyway, if you have a lot of debt that is accruing interest every single month and you're maybe late on payments, then a very popular method to pay this all off is called the snowball debt method. Basically, what you will do is first list out all the debt that you have from smallest to largest regardless of interest rates. And next, you would pay off the minimum amount of every single one of your debt except the smallest one where you'll pay as much as possible. Once you pay off the smallest one, you can then go on to the next smallest one, and eventually, hopefully, you'll clear off the largest debt that you have. A disclaimer though, financially speaking, this is not the best way to pay off your debt because technically, to maximize your money, you should be paying the ones with the highest interest rates first. However, the debt snowball method has helped many people because it allows you to take small wins when you pay off those small debts, and it gives you hope that you can pay off everything eventually. I won't argue with that. This may not be the best financial decision, but if it works for you, then go for it. Of course, if you can, pay off all your bad debt like credit cards and personal loans, and don't try to do this debt snowball method just because I mentioned it, even though you can technically pay it all off on time. This is specifically for those who are, struggling with a lot of debt and you need help on how to pay it off one by one. Personally, I only have 3 loans with me right now, which is Amanah Saham, PTPTN, and my car loan, which I just bought last year, and I'm in no rush in clearing off any of those debts this year. What I'll do is I'll just pay the exact amount necessary every single month and ensure that my credit score stays top notch. So once you've settled your savings and your debts, then the next logical goal to have is, of course, to start investing your money. We've made many videos about investing on this channel, the many different ways that we can do it, and we believe that everyone should be investing their money if they have the means to. And we should also try to do this as soon as possible. As you can see in this graph, those who invest their money earlier are so much better off than those who start later. If you're already a bit older and you're not investing your money yet, then don't get discouraged, because starting at 35 is still better than starting at 45, and starting at 45 is still better than not starting at all. So investing would be one of the largest contributors to our financial independence in the future alongside savings. A good goal to have here really depends on your situation. For those of you who have tried out investing maybe a bit here, a bit there last year, maybe this year what you want to do is set a monthly amount that you want to invest so that you can build that consistency. If you've never invested in your life though, you're afraid, then maybe your goal for this year is to just start. Don't be daunted by all these things, making high returns, making sure your portfolio is maximized for risk-adjusted returns. At the end of the day, we're all taking individual paths, and if you're just starting off, take small wins. For me, my goal this year is to maintain my monthly contributions to investments, but to stop making so many dumb decisions with how I actually invest my money, because as I mentioned in an earlier video, 2021 was a bad year for me in terms of investing returns. I won't go too much detail about how to invest your money because we have so many of those on our channel, but the most relevant one for those of you who are new is the one that we just recently released, which is called How to Start Investing in 2022. To summarize that video though, newer investors, my recommendation is to stick to passive investments like ETFs and robo-advisors. The next goal that we want to set is related to earnings. A surefire way to increase your savings and your investments is to make more money. Some people believe that at the very start of your career, investing doesn't really matter in comparison to earnings. Well, I disagree with this. They say that a 10% increase in your salary will make you much better off than a 10% return on your investment portfolio. Well, I agree with this, but I also think that everyone should learn to invest their money as early as you can, not just for the returns, but to help you get used to the concept of investing. I strongly believe that if you can't manage a 1,000 ringgit portfolio, then you can't manage a 100,000 ringgit portfolio. Anyway, sorry for digressing, back to the topic of earnings. So if you're working a standard full-time job and you're getting a monthly salary, then a goal that you can have is to have an X% increment where you can then speak to your boss and they can hopefully set some targets for you so that you can achieve it. If things aren't going so great in a company, you can always job hop to achieve the same increment that you're looking for. However, the most common goal that many people set in relation to earnings is through side hustles. Whether it's doing freelance copywriting, starting your own blog, or selling cookies from your home, all this additional money starts to add up. If you want a video on what to look for in terms of side income in 2022, let us know down in the comments. So in my opinion, this is the best earnings goal to have because it's separate from your main job and in a way, you're actually in full control of it. So earlier I said maybe you want an X% amount of increment this year, but technically that is completely up to your boss and your company. When talking about side hustles though, it is, it's really up to your effort and what you can do with your skills. You can start with small milestones like maybe earning your very first dollar to getting, 50 ringgit a month. Slowly, you'll start to see this amount snowball and you can then eventually have more savings and increase your investment portfolio. Our goal for this year is of course still reliant on this YouTube channel, but I'm also looking at other cool ways where I can increase my side income as well. So the final goal to set in 2022 is with regards to learning. This may be a bit subjective, but it's important for your financial future. If you don't know how to invest at all, you can set your learning goal for this year to understand how to invest your money, how to use brokers to buy stocks that you like, and what companies that you actually want to invest in. If you want to make things simpler, maybe just go through our entire YouTube channel. For those of you who can't seem to be able to manage your money, research and find out ways or budgeting methods to help you do so. It can also be learning new skills which will help you with your earning portion that we were talking about earlier. For me, 2022 will really be the year of understanding crypto as a whole. I feel like I let 2021, the crazy bull market in crypto slip away because I was stubborn and I was so focused on just stocks. I disregarded crypto. I thought a lot of it is a scam, which is true, but there's a lot of it that has good potential. This year, I'm going to give it a shot to understand as much as I possibly can about how crypto works and how it will shape our future. In fact, I've already started with this, so do expect some crypto videos coming up in the next few weeks or months. So, the new year represents a good time for us to set goals that we want to achieve in 2022. A good concept for goals that you want to set out is using the SMART technique, which is basically it needs to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and it is time constrained. Don't shoot for the moon right from the start. You don't want to be setting yourself up to fail. You want to take small wins and slowly let this snowball into a great year. That's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching till the end. Hopefully, 2022 will be a great year for all of us financially. Give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.